Hey, what's up YouTubers, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts video. The girls are nice and fresh. They just had a bath earlier today. So their necklaces and Heidi's sweater is in the washing machine right now, getting cleaned up. They're squeaky clean, like sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what these pretty girls are made of. So we're gonna do another video showing off some more multi-packs. So get yourselves relaxed, get a beverage and a snack, take a bath, and let's check out these movies. So I have a couple piles here. These are like, I think 3 and 4 movie packs. And then these are 8 movie packs. And these are 8 and more. I think they're like 10 and 12 packs in there too. So let's just pull from the 3 and 4 movie packs here. This was a triple feature with Severed, Forest of the Dead. I watched that movie and I was very disappointed. It was not very good. It was, there was a lot of political undertones in the movie, a lot of social commentary, and it just didn't work for me. I didn't care much for it. And the second one is called Shallow Ground. And then the third one is another one that I had seen years ago. It's a very low budget, kind of a ripoff, or it was inspired by the Reanimator movies. This was put out by a company called Screen Media Films, and this set was put out in 2010. If you want to pause that and read the synopsis of these movies. I thought The Rage was decent and it had potential, but to me it just fell a little bit short. But I probably should give that a rewatch. The Severed movie, I'll probably never watch that again. And I have never seen Shallow Ground. The next one here was a pretty good set. This is a 4 movie pack. These are all drive-in style movies. You get the Blob remake from 1988. You get Christine, who was a 1958 Plymouth Fury, I believe. And you get Fright Night, which is a classic horror comedy. And you get the Seventh Sign with a younger Demi Moore. This was put out by Sony and TriStar. Out of this pack, I would say, in my opinion, I like the Blob the best, although Fright Night is a very close second. They're both very good. And then Christine, and then the Seventh Sign. That's just my ranking of this little 4-pack. The next one here is a 4-pack from Mill Creek, and these are 4 black and white monster movies. You get the Killer Shrews, the Brain That Wouldn't Die, King of the Zombies, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This was put out in 2005 by Mill Creek. I don't remember where I got this, but somebody put a marker slash through the barcode. See the Mill Creek. I know you guys know what the Mill Creek logo looks like, but I like to point that stuff out. The next one is a 4-pack that I picked up at a Kmart for $5. You get the Fear Chamber, Darkness, Marked, and Lost Souls. The second one was called Past the Door of Darkness. I was trying to find a year on these, but I'm not seeing it. I'm guessing these were probably late 90s, maybe into the early 2000s. I'm not exactly sure. But this was Echo Bridge, and they put this out in 2010. Next one is another Echo Bridge 4-pack. Kind of an oddball assortment of movies here. You get the original Night of the Living Dead from 1968, and then you get some more modern movies. You get Hindsight, Razor Eaters, and Cruel World with Edward Furlong. Always enjoy him in movies. This one came out in 2009 by Echo Bridge. 372 minutes running time. And all of the movies are in color except for Night of the Living Dead. This one had a anti-theft device thing. This next 4-pack is a 2-disc set. It's 2 flipper discs. 4-movie marathon cult horror collection. You get the Funhouse, Phantasm 2. Is that Phantasm 2? Yes. The Serpent and the Rainbow, and it's a pretty nice little set put up by Universal. Wes Craven, Don Coscarelli. I think out of this pack, I would go with Funhouse number 1, probably Phantasm 2 number 2, and then Serpent and the Rainbow, and then this next one was put out by Screen Media in conjunction with GT Media. This is a 4-movie midnight movie horror fest. You get Hell's Gate, Spliced, Blood Gnome, and The Demon Within. This is the Demonic Thrillers set. Here are the logos for Screen Media Films and GT Media, and this was released in 2012. There's a little bit of a synopsis for each of the movies if you'd like to pause and read. So this one is excellent. This is probably one of the better ones that I'm going to show today. I bought this one at Walmart. All 4 of these movies were in the heavy VHS rental rotation at the Young Walnuts compound back in the day, we'll call it. I'm not going to say when exactly, but this is the original Children of the Corn, Creepshow, Chud, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, and House. And if I had to rank these 4, I'm gonna go Creepshow #1, Children of the Corn 2. Both of them are Stephen King adaptations. Stephen King actually has a role in Creepshow. It's pretty funny. He plays Geordie, and he finds a meteor in his backyard. It's really a really good segment. This whole movie is phenomenal. And then it's probably a toss-up. I probably would go with House and then Chud. I do like the little rubber monster movies, but House is pretty good. And this is a really good little 4-pack. There's Malachi from Children of the Corn. There's the Creep. And this is from House. You see William Catt there on the right. And then this scene was from Chud, apparently. I don't remember that scene. Not sure why they wouldn't show the little Chud monsters. This was put out by Image and Lakeshore Entertainment. And this was a 2-disc set. And when was it released? 2012. Really, really good classic 4-pack. The next one was oh, she got a little bit closer. I think she wants to see these Halloween movies. She's always been a big fan of Michael Myers, even though I'm a Jason fan. We sometimes bump heads on that. I'm just kidding. I like both characters. So this was a dump bin pickup at Walmart for $5. And this one has a couple of sequels from 4 different movies. You get Halloween H2O, 20 years later, which would have been 1998. I believe the original Halloween came out in 1978. So 20 years later, quick math, 1998. Then you have Hellraiser Inferno. Not a very good sequel in my opinion. And then you have one of the Wes Craven Dracula movies. I think he did 3 or 4 of them. This is part 2, Ascension. I have to admit I've never seen any of Wes Craven's Dracula movies, but I need to remedy that and check those out eventually. Always have been a fan of Wes Craven. And we have Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror. Echo Bridge from 2011. Echo Bridge and Mill Creek are kind of unsung heroes, and they were putting a lot of these movies out on the cheap, kind of budget collecting, which there's nothing wrong with that. These are fun to collect, I think. The price is right. They're just not glitzy and glamoury like some of the other companies that, you know, they give you all the bonus features and the nice slipcover and a nice box set. These are just kind of standard, low budget, cheap collections that you can add to your collection, and I really enjoy these. We have 2 more 4-packs, and then we'll jump into the 8-packs. This one is called 4 Films Horror Collector's Set. You get Wages of Sin, Tobe Hooper's Mortuary, Memory, Dennis Hopper is in that one, and Margaret. Isn't that a kind of a weird combo? And Bloody Mary. Another Echo Bridge release. This one's from 2009. Yeah, I really enjoy these. They're fun to collect. They're still collectible too. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are trying to still grab these. Every time I see these, I pick them up. And I've even been kind of looking on eBay for some of the ones I've missed over the years. So it's kind of fun to track these little cheapies down. And this is a really nice set. The movies aren't particularly great, but this is a Lionsgate 4-movie collection, and there's 4 discs in here. They each come on their own disc, and it's a very heavy set, and it still comes in a regular keep case. So you get The Eye with the very gorgeous Jessica Alba, who has kind of disappeared from the limelight, and I think it's because she wanted to raise her children and be with her husband, and I applaud her for that. Maybe she'll come back at some point. You have Bug with the very lovely Ashley Judd. I always thought she was really beautiful. And then you have Ju-on and Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark has the very lovely Tara Reid. There's the Lionsgate logo. I'm sure everybody knows that logo. The Eye from 2008, Bug from 2006. That's a remake, by the way. There was a Bug from, I believe, the 70s. Ju-on from 2004. I believe that's part of the Ring franchise, I think. And Alone in the Dark from 2004. I think that's kind of I watched it years ago. I only saw it one time. Almost 20 years ago now. Over 20 years ago. And I think it's a sci-fi kind of horror, if I remember, but I could be completely wrong about that. I thought it was an alien type movie. Let's see if there's a synopsis. A private investigator, played by Christian Slater, specializing in unexplainable supernatural phenomena, revisits the greatest mystery of his past in the most dangerous case he has ever faced. Maybe I was thinking of a different movie. That one sounds just straight up horror. If anybody knows, if you remember, you can leave a comment. Okay, let's get into the 8-movie packs. I'll go a little bit quicker. I like some of these, how they're just kind of plain. It just has 8 horror films. It has kind of a generic image. I don't believe that's a scene from a movie or anything. I think it's just kind of a generic image. This is a Echo Bridge release. And the 8 films you get are Pelt, Behind Your Eyes, Bloody Mary, The Nurse, The Eye Inside, Wes Craven presents They, The Final Patient, and The Fear Chamber. This set came out in 2013. Next one is a 10-movie original cult classics. You get Night of the Living Dead, Jack Nicholson, and the original, The Little Shop of Horrors, which I think the remake to me was far superior. I think the remake is excellent with Rick Moranis and Steve Martin. Really excellent movie. You get The Devil Bat, House on Haunted Hill. A lot of these are public domain. You get Piranha, White Zombie, Bat, Carnival of Souls, Maniac, and The Last Man on Earth. That is not the Joe Spinell Maniac. That is the black and white Maniac. That's 51 minutes running time. This one says an ex-vaudevillian turned lab assistant murders the scientist he works for, conceals the body behind a wall in his laboratory, and begins conducting his own bizarre experiments. I don't know what year that came out, but it was a black and white flick. The next one is a landscape design here, kind of unusual. This is the Masters of Terror 8 films pack. You get Tobe Hooper's Mortuary again. You get The Hole, Ritual, Helter Skelter, the 6 Degrees of Helter Skelter. You get Wes Craven's They again, Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest, The Nameless, and The Crow, Wicked Prayer. That's one of the sequels. That one also has Tara Reid in it. Edward Furlong is the Crow in this movie. This was put out by Echo Bridge in 2011. That Crow movie came out in 2005. It was, Keira Knightley just celebrated a birthday a couple days ago. I think she just turned 40 and she's gorgeous. Speaking of Charles Manson, here's that same exact movie. This is a serial killer 8-movie pack, and this one also includes the 6 Degrees of Helter Skelter, America's most horrific serial killer, which is not true. He wasn't the most horrific serial killer. There have been some really horrific serial killers. He was more just of a cult leader, and he's responsible for a couple deaths, but he's not a serial killer. But he was a loony for sure. You have the movie Serial Killer, a movie called 213, Speck. That's a movie about Richard Speck. The Ted Bundy story, he was another lunatic. All God's Creatures, Room Zero, and The Prophet's Game, starring Dennis Hopper, who could play a really psychopath. Dennis Hopper was a great actor, but he was kind of nuts, and he could play a perfect role like that, like a villain. Over 11 hours of movies here. It's another Echo Bridge. Came out in 2013. Next one here is another great one. This is called Simply Horror Collection. You get some really good titles on here, in my opinion. You get Waxwork. These were more VHS rental type movies. You get 976 Evil 2, The Astral Factor. You get Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College. I didn't even know that existed. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. You get The Unholy. You get Chud 2, Bud the Chud, I believe that was called. Class of 1999. Pretty good cast. You got Stacy Keach and Malcolm McDowell. You get Slaughter High, the uncut version. And you get Chopping Mall. And all of these movies are really fun VHS rental type movies. This was put out by Lionsgate. And this came out in, looks like 2012. There's the Roman numerals there, 2012. The next one is Haunted by the Dead, 8-movie pack. These are all movies that kind of, I guess, deal with ghosts or the afterlife. And you get Disconnect, Occupied, Hauntings, Possession type movies, Darkness, The Wages of Sin, Solitary, The Mesmerist, Key, is that what that says? There's some more writing underneath it, but my little peepers can't read anymore. I can't read that small print. And Below. And I think I said in the other video that I thought that was Kevin Bacon, but it's not. And now I forget who it was. Let's see. Wait. Was it called Below? I forgot already. Yeah, Below. And let's see here. Where are the Matt Davis, Bruce Greenwood? I'm not sure who that is on the cover, but it's not Kevin Bacon. It does kind of look like Kevin Bacon a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Here's another 8 horror classics. You can see Christopher Walken there on the cover. And you have another Wes Craven movie. This one's called Dracula 2000. You get Christopher Walken in The Prophecy. You get Subspecies. I believe that is part of the Full Moon catalog. You get Reflecting Skin. I watched that one time, and I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't really expecting a whole lot out of Reflecting Skin, but I enjoyed that one. Here's Castle Freak, which was okay. Immortality, starring Jude Law. From Dusk Till Dawn, vampire movie, starring George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, although he did not direct it. Robert Rodriguez directed that one. And you get The Faculty, another Robert Rodriguez movie. This one came out in 2013 from Echo Bridge. Castle Freak was directed by Stuart Gordon. It was okay. I thought it could have been better. Pretty good movies on here, though. Here's another 8 movie collection. I like the design on this. It really looks like the 8 is kind of leaking. It's a pretty cool design. Simple but effective, I think. Really low budget movies here. You get Chupacabra, Devil Dolls, Netherworld, Blood Relic, It Sucks Your Life Out, Blood Predator, The Club, and Bound by Blood, Wendigo. Another Echo Bridge from 2013 again. This next one is another really good one for $5. I think this is an excellent pickup if you can find this one. I got it at a Kmart for $5. But you get Bloody Murder and Bloody Murder 2. I think these are pretty fun movies. They're definite rip-offs of Friday the 13th, but they're still pretty good. And then you got Junior, Children of the Living Dead, which I think is a pretty good movie. Severed, Creepy Crawlers, Deadly Species, and Carnivore. This is a really good 8-movie pack. I've seen all the movies in here, and I think they're all very entertaining in their own right. I mean, they're not great movies, but they're very entertaining. Out of this pack, I think Children of the Living Dead was pretty good, and the Bloody Murder movies were pretty good. Carnivore was a pretty good creature feature. The monster was pretty effective, a little rubber monster with big teeth there, you can see. Practical effects. Creepy Crawler is kind of a bug movie. Those are always kind of gross. Here's a little pack here of some of the 8 films to die for from the After Dark Horror Fest. This is the 3rd one. I do have some of these on big box sets, but this is just your standard keep case. I think this is a pretty good idea if you're looking to kind of save space on your shelf. Instead of getting the big box sets, you can just get all 8 movies here in just a regular thin case. But these 8 movies are Autopsy, The Broken, Slaughter, Perkins 14, Butterfly Effect 3, Dying Breed, From Within, and Voices. I think out of these 8, I only saw Perkins 14. But I have seen the other 8 films to die for. I've seen all of those. And someday I'll show those in my box set collections. I don't know if I can't remember if I've ever shown those on this channel, but I do have some box sets with these in them. Nice Lionsgate release. And the last 8-pack from that pile is another horror collection. You get star-studded casts, psychological twists, vengeful killers, and pulse-pounding terror. I think I'm going to use some of those on the title of this video. You get Prom Night, Mortuary again. You can see that some of these are favorites for the multi-packs. You get Memory, Decedent, The Dead One, and The Nurse. A lot of these have been featured on other multi-packs. It's another Echo Bridge release from 2007. I'm going to pause it here, go get something to drink, and then we have one more stack to go through. Okay, everybody is still here. You can see that they have a nice sheen on their coats now because they got a nice bath earlier today. And once I call their collars their necklaces, and they know what it is. They don't like it when I take their necklaces off. And Heidi wears a sweater because it gets a little chilly even in the spring here in Wisconsin. Good dogs. So these first two are a little bit different. These are more on the kind of adventure fantasy side of films, and this was another multi-pack from Kmart. You can see I paid $7.50 for it. You get Alan Quatermain and the Temple of Skulls. Obviously, that's kind of a ripoff of Indiana Jones. Those movies are actually pretty good, though, the Alan Quatermain movies. There's a few of them. You get The Land That Time Forgot, Merlin, and The War of the Dragons. Some of those Merlin movies are pretty good, too. I like the ones that had Sam Neill in them. Those were really good. If you can find those, pick them up. They're great. Dragon Quest, Blackbeard, The Curse of King Tut's Tomb, The Poseidon Adventure, and Merlin's Apprentice. I think this was a sequel to the Sam Neill Merlin movie, which I do have that on DVD as a standalone edition. They're really good. I think those are even worthy of a Blu-ray upgrade if you can find them. I'm not sure if they have a Blu-ray or not. I'm sure they probably do, but I don't know for certain. And this one came out in 2011 by Echo Bridge. Next one is a action pack. You get 12 movies. Another Kmart purchase for $7.50. You get Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. 2012 Supernova. 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Mega Piranha. 2012 Doomsday. The Prophecy is True, it says. Earthquake. The Apocalypse. Beneath Loch Ness. Piranha. Fire. Attack of the Giant Leeches. I believe that's a black and white movie from the 50s. We'll take a look on the back. And Avalanche. I like the natural disaster movies. I like the cryptid movies, and I like, you know, the killer fish type stuff and giant leeches, monster movies, creature features. I'm a big fan of all this stuff. Another Echo Bridge from 2011. What did I say we were going to look up? Attack of the Giant Leeches. 62 minutes, black and white. It doesn't have a year on here, but I'm going to guess the 50s. But this is a fun little pack. Here's a 4-pack with some of the same movies we just talked about. The Land of Time Forgot, Dragon Quest, Merlin and the War of the Dragons, and Alan Quatermain and the Temple of Skulls. After I finish recording this video, I'm going to go online and see if there's a box set of the Alan Quatermain movies, because I think those are pretty fun. And I'm also going to see if there's a Merlin box set. And I would recommend both of those series if you haven't watched them. Echo Bridge release from 2010. Hard to believe that the Asylum was the company that released the Alan Quatermain movies, because they're actually, to me, they're pretty good. I like adventure type movies where they're on a quest looking for something and they have to team up together. I love those kind of movies. If ever I had a multi-pack that was a drive-in style, movie set, for some reason that was hard to come out. I don't know why. This is it. This is the Creature Features. There's 12 of them. I got it at Kmart for $5, which was a good steal for me. You get all these great movies in here. The Creeping Terror, Horror of the Zombies, The Wasp Woman, Kong Island, The Crater Lake Monster, Land of the Minotaur, The Horrors of Spider Island, Gamera, The Invincible, Horror High, Attack of the Monsters, Snow Beast, Bride of the Gorilla. All of these are perfect drive-in style movies. This was put out by Milk Creek in 2012. 16 hours running time, color and black and white. What a fun pack of movies to watch. These kind of movies to me are timeless. You can put these on anytime. The next one in here is, I'm starting to get tired. We only have a few left. We're going to make it through this. This was a double feature. I think I meant to put this in the very first pile that we looked at, but what difference does it make? This is a double feature, Killers from Space, starring Peter Graves and Barbara Bestar, and The Last Woman on Earth, a film by Roger Corman. I'm sure you remember that cover there. Some of you movie hounds out there, I'm sure you probably remember both of these movies. This is a pretty nice little set, though. I like the way this one looks. Put out by a company called Intercontinental, 2004. Killers from Space, 71 minutes, black and white, and Last Woman on Earth, also 71 minutes, also black and white. It says not rated, not suitable for children, but these movies are pretty tame. Double features of classic 50s sci-fi suspense. I can almost guarantee you that there's nothing in here that will be harmful for children to watch. Here's a pretty cool little set. I think I only got this just a couple years ago. I believe I bought this at it was either at a flea market or a thrift shop, and I don't remember which. But this is a Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi 4-pack. You get The Black Cat, The Raven, The Invisible Ray, and Black Friday. A couple of legends, giants in the horror film business. You can see the original covers, the original poster art there for these awesome movies. Just look at how gorgeous these posters are. So colorful and great art, and it just draws you in to want to watch these movies. If you can get a hold of some of these original posters, they're very, very pricey. But you can also get these reproductions, and they still look just as good if you want to decorate your man cave or your office or wherever, your bedroom. This one came out in 2018. Really nice edition. Next one here is a Amicus House of Horrors, a little box set here. A history of England's groundbreaking studio of terror. Check out all these different actors and characters from these Amicus movies. Absolutely gorgeous. I've had this one for a long time. This was put out by Alpha Media from oldies.com. Let's see if it has a date. 2012. Some of these covers are just beautiful. For the first time on DVD, the Alpha Archives collection proudly presents a two-part feature-length documentary celebrating the history of the Amicus Productions film company. Founded in the early 1960s by Americans Milton Subtasky and Max J. Rosenberg, Amicus produced some classic, now cult, horror movies, including Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, The House That Dripped Blood, Tales from the Crypt, Asylum, and Far Beyond the Grave, featuring interviews with key individuals who worked for Amicus, actors, directors, etc., and with many rare photographs and production designs throughout. This documentary is a must-see for fans of British horror cinema. And you also get a couple bonus features. You get a Peter Cushing interview from 1983. Peter Cushing is interviewed by Ian Jennings about his life and career, introduced by Ian Jennings. And you get the Human Factor for the Love of Helen, 1990. Peter Cushing in conversation with Peter Williams about his childhood, his beliefs, and his marriage to Helen, introduced by Peter Williams. Really nice edition. Not sure why I have this though with the multi-packs. This should go with my horror documentaries, and it will after this video. We have two more and we'll end this video, and we have one more entry in this series for multi-packs, and then we'll end it after the next video, which will be tomorrow night. This one's called A Big Box of Zombies. The Greatest Zombie Collection Ever Unearthed. It's a 4-disc set, as you can see there. And it's very heavy. It's a very heavy set. I don't know if there's a booklet in there or if it's just the 4 discs. This was put out by a company called S'more Entertainment. It's 10 hours and 10 minutes, color and black and white. This was released in 2011. You can see some of the characters from these movies. And let's see how classic these are. You get Teenage Zombies from 1959. Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies from 1964. I Eat Your Skin, 1964. Super Rargo, 1966. I believe that's a Spanish movie dubbed in English. Hand of Power, aka The Zombie Walks, 1968. Also a dubbed movie. I don't know what original language that's in. King of the Zombies, 1941. Revolt of the Zombies, 1936. And She Demons, 1957. And the last one here is called Strange Things, 11 movie collection. Mill Creek. This was released in 2017. So you get, let's see here, it's 11 movies. You get Pulse, Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, Krull. Krull is a fun movie. You get My Mom's a Werewolf from 1989, The Hearse, 1980. Lurkers, 1988. Slipstream, 1989. That's a Bill Paxton movie. He's missed. Mutant with Wings Hauser, 1984. He's missed. Warriors of the Wasteland with Fred the Hammer Williamson. He's great. George Eastman is also in that movie. He's great. Alien Contamination and Eternal Evil, 1985. So that was, I guess, part 3 of my multi-packs. I hope you guys have been enjoying this little series. There's going to be one more video, like I said, and then the video after that will most likely be a update video showing some of the things that I purchased lately, some new additions to my collection. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you for spending a little time with me. I always appreciate that. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those below. Thank you for watching. Take care. And we're going to go watch a little TV and crawl in bed. I'm starting to feel tired myself. Take care. Bye.